Apostleship Jesus 32. Does Jesus announce his death in Jerusalem? John 12. Traduction Corey G. Par Isabel Rock Peltier, https://u2.b/xsckzr184hc. Did Jesus have to announce to his apostles that he was to die in Jerusalem? In fact, it is seen in the Gospel that he begins to do so, in Matthew chapter 16, starting from verse 20. The scene is amazing, because first he asks his apostles if they know who he is. Peter is the one who answers the question saying, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." On that day Jesus founded his mission, saying to him, "You are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church." The Protestants say, it is on the word that he spoke. Catholics say yes, he speaks on the word, but he also speaks on his person. He gives Peter a charisma so that he may not, from his office as Prince of the Apostles, say anything else than the doctrine of salvation, in order to confirm his brothers in the faith. Some people say, he gave Peter a magic power and so he can never be wrong. Actually he can be wrong, the text will prove it later on. From that time, says the Gospel, Jesus began to show his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things from the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed, and on the third day be raised. This is what he announces to them. And then Peter, who has just been flattered by this noble title of rock, speaks up and says, "Far be it from you, Lord. This shall never happen to you." But Jesus turned and said to Peter, "Get behind me, Satan. You are a hindrance to me. For you are not setting your mind on the things of God, but on the things of man." The Church relies on these text excerpts and on history to confirm the dogma on the infallibility of the popes. In 1870, Church says that the popes are infallible when they proclaim a universal truth of salvation. Sometimes in the practical field, for example, when Peter says this shall never happen to you, he is not at all infallible, and so the Pope can be mistaken, because they are sinners. We must look sympathetically at the pastoral decisions the popes take, but not in the same way as the dogmas they proclaim. Why did Jesus have to announce his death? For several reasons. First, for his mother. Her mother, she hears, he will die and he will be raised, and she meditates that in her heart, she understands it, she believes it, and that's all. It is the reason she will not go to the shrine on Sunday morning. She already knows he's not there. She waited for him in her room. Did he come to visit her or not? It does not matter. She knows that he has risen. She shares what she knows with the apostles because she sees their weakness. She knows all of them will escape from Jesus' execution, except St. John because of his youth and his friendship for her. He keeps hope in his heart. Well, in the same way, the Church will announce the path that she will have to follow towards the end of the world, and which is the same as Christ. The Church will have to follow Christ's path in the same martyrdom, as it is written in the Catechism of the Catholic Church in chapter 675. One could say that this text of the Catechism is related to this passage of the Gospel. Before Christ's second coming, the Church must pass through a final trial that will shake the faith of many believers. The Church will enter the glory of the kingdom only through this final Passover, when she will follow her Lord in his death and resurrection. What's the point? Well, first to prepare the little church, the one identical to Mary, who will live this in her inner life, at the end of the world. No doubt the recent apparitions of the Virgin Mary were meant to help the Church understand, so that, when comes the Armageddon, people will be held up in their homes hopeless and in great despair, since everything in what they believed is falling apart. The Church will have disappeared, the gates of hell will have taken it away, they will remember what happened to Christ and his apostles, they will understand that the gates of hell might actually be closer to be defeated, as for Christ. Because the victory of Christ is not in the power of guns, it is not the conquest of the world, it is the victory of humility and love pushed to death to oneself, pushed to the point of death, and that is what the Church will do, following Christ's paths.